Imagine the terror. It's August 10th, 1792. You are the Queen of France, Marie Antoinette. But your crown is a curse, and your magnificent Tuileries palace is now a cage. An angry, armed mob, a mix of former subjects and soldiers, is screaming just outside the walls. This is the collapse. The monarchy is over, and your life as a royal, all its splendor and security, is unraveling right now. Just 3 years ago, you commanded an empire. Now you stand behind barricaded doors, listening to the death knell of a 1,000-year-old dynasty. This is the story of how a queen was erased, one terrifying step at a time. Before we dive into the chilling details of her final imprisonment, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into history's most compelling figures. And let us know in the comments which city you're watching from. We love seeing how far this history reaches. The Tuileries became your gilded prison after the catastrophic Varennes escape in June 1791. That failed dash for freedom didn't just fail. It detonated the last shreds of trust between the crown and the revolutionaries. From that moment, public hatred intensified. Not just for Louis XVI, but viciously for you, Marie Antoinette. Pamphlets and brutal caricatures branded you Madame Deficit, an insidious Austrian traitor undermining France from within. Your foreign birth became proof of treachery in the eyes of the public. As the armed insurgents surged on that grim August morning, your loyal Swiss mercenaries prepared to die defending their king. Yet, the timid Louis XVI hesitated, refusing to sanction the use of force. Instead, he made a tragic choice. He led your family across the palace gardens to seek sanctuary with the National Convention. You left the palace behind, and within hours, the mob swallowed it whole. The violence was immediate and bloody, claiming the lives of hundreds, including many of the king's loyal guard. That same day, the monarchy was effectively brought to an end. You, the royal family, were taken under armed guard to the Temple, a grim medieval fortress in Paris. Your complete transformation from queen to captive was now undeniable. Stripped of all titles, you were now simply known in revolutionary documents as the widow capet, a searing insult designed to obliterate your identity. You would never again sleep in the comfort of a palace. On August 2nd, 1793, in the dead of night, officials of the Paris Commune arrived at the Temple. They informed you, Marie Antoinette, of your immediate transfer. Records from the Revolutionary Tribunal reveal you were escorted before dawn to the conciergerie, a vile prison nicknamed the antechamber of the guillotine. Your entire connection to your surviving family was brutally severed. Your daughter, Madame Royale, later wrote that you embraced her silently, already aware that every single word you spoke could be used against you. The prison registry logged you only as widow capet, a label deliberately imposed by your captors to erase all trace of your former royal status. Your small cell, located in the women's wing, was situated just above the river. Contemporary plans from the Commission de Monuments Historiques show the cell measured a mere 3 by 2 meters, enclosed by cold stone and iron bars, with only a single slit of a window. Eyewitness accounts, like those from reformer Jacques-Pierre Brisset, describe the women's quarters as freezing, damp, and swarming with lice and rats. Initially, you were provided no proper bed, forced to sleep upon straw. An official decree, dated August 5, 1793, demanded your placement under continuous surveillance without interruption. 2 gendarmes were assigned inside your cell, refusing to look away even when you changed or attempted to clean yourself. Officer Jean-Baptiste Mycones admitted in his tribunal testimony that you were granted zero privacy. A prison physician, whose notes are still preserved in the archives of the Paris Revolutionary Committee, reported that you exhibited signs of uterine bleeding, extreme weight loss, and utter exhaustion. He was permitted only highly restricted access to the former queen. By late September, your physical appearance was drastically altered. Observers like Lord Gower, the British ambassador, noted reports that your hair had turned completely white. In a final act of heartbreaking defiance, you attempted to sneak a note to your sister-in-law, Madame Elizabeth. The letter, now kept in the Archives Nationales, was intercepted. It simply stated, "I have nothing left to hope for in this world." Your trial before the Revolutionary Tribunal began on the morning of October 14, 1793, inside the main hall of the conciergerie. Official transcripts, later published in the Bulletin du Tribunal Révolutionnaire, reveal charges that went far beyond mere treason. You were accused of orchestrating intricate counter-revolutionary schemes, colluding with hostile foreign powers, and, the most infamous charge, committing incest with your young son, the Dauphin Louis Charles. This last, horrifying accusation, based on forced claims extracted from the imprisoned child, was so vile that even some revolutionaries privately condemned it as a mere political tactic. The trial was presided over by Antoine Quentin Fouquier-Tinville, the public prosecutor notorious for overseeing swift executions. The courtroom was sealed off by armed guards and filled with a selected audience of spectators loyal to the Jacobins. Reports by British diplomat Francis Jackson, who received first-hand accounts from witnesses, described the entire event as a grotesque spectacle rather than a search for justice. You appeared in a modest black dress and a simple white bonnet. Journalist Prudhomme noted your sunken eyes and deathly pallor but acknowledged that you maintained an unbroken posture. When questioned about correspondence with foreign governments, you denied any involvement in military plots. In response to the horrifying incest accusation, your only recorded words were, "I appeal to all mothers." The courtroom fell silent, as even your most bitter enemies hesitated to press the appalling charge further. So, the courtroom fell silent after the horrific incest accusation. But the so-called justice was far from over. The prosecution didn't need facts. They only needed spectacle. Get ready, because what happens next is the swift, brutal end of a queen, driven by rumor, not evidence. The testimony used against her was a flimsy foundation, built mostly on gossip and radical interpretations of her private correspondence. These letters were famously seized during the palace invasion and sensationalized. The infamous armoire de fer, a hidden safe found in the Tuileries, was paraded as ironclad proof of her secret plots. Yet, when scrutinized, most of the supposed evidence was either vague, open to interpretation, or entirely disconnected from any direct treasonous actions. Despite this shocking lack of proof, after only 2 days of proceedings, and with no meaningful defense or opportunity to call witnesses, the jury delivered its cruel, unanimous verdict: death by guillotine. Marie Antoinette showed absolutely no visible reaction to the sentence. The final judgment was read aloud at 4 a.m. on October 16th. The former Queen of France was granted only a few terrifying hours to prepare for her final journey. The morning of October 16th, 1793, dawned, marking her last day on Earth. At precisely 7 a.m., she was roused in her conciergerie cell. Prison documents and the account of Marie Groscholz, the woman history remembers as Madame Tussaud, who was present, confirm she was forced to change into a simple white chemise and had her hands bound behind her back. Crucially, unlike her late husband, Louis XVI, she was denied the dignity of a closed carriage. Instead, she was placed in an open wooden cart, exactly like a common criminal. The route from the conciergerie to the Place de la Révolution was deliberately chosen to maximize humiliation. Police reports from the time detail the lengthy escort of the gendarmerie and National Guard troops, which flanked her. The procession crawled along the Rue Saint-Honoré, lined with thousands of jeering spectators. One of the most insightful observations came from the radical Jacques Roux, who noted that the former queen was silent, her head held upright, her gaze fixed straight ahead. She maintained her composure to the bitter end. The agonizing cart ride lasted over an hour. Witnesses noted her drastic physical change. Her white hair had been crudely cut short by the executioner's assistant, the customary preparation for the blade. At the foot of the scaffold, the executioner, Henri Sanson, assisted her up the steps. In his later deposition, he recorded an extraordinary, final moment of human grace. She accidentally stepped on his foot and immediately offered her final recorded words, "Pardon me, sir. I did not do it on purpose." At 12:15 p.m., the heavy blade of the guillotine dropped. Official execution minutes note the crowd roared, shouting, "Vive la République!" But numerous observers, including journalist Mercier, recorded a profound, momentary silence as her body was immediately placed into a simple, common coffin. She was thrown into an unmarked grave at the Cimetière de la Madeleine, joining hundreds of others consumed by the reign of terror. It would be over 2 decades, until the Bourbon Restoration in 1815, that her remains were finally found and given a proper burial at the Basilica of Saint Denis, the traditional resting place of French royalty. The execution of Marie Antoinette was more than just the death of a single royal. It was the violent destruction of an entire social order built on inherited privilege and divine right. Her trial and final moments powerfully demonstrate how revolution can devour its symbols as swiftly as it creates them. Her final letter to Madame Elizabeth, written that morning, sums up her perspective. "I forgive all my enemies. I die in the hope that my death will unite my children." Before you click away, this whole event raises a massive question for history. Comment below. Did Marie Antoinette's death represent justice for the people, or was it the birth of a new tyranny born purely from political vengeance? Let us know your thoughts.